So if I have like a 1-star review on Google, you can remove it for me?
Absolutely. Easily.
Easily.
Yeah.
How you do that?
Because we know people.
All I need to do is know you, okay? Okay, I love that. How was the class for you today?
It was great. I think at some point, like Wes said, it's about building up an asset. You may want to exit or even invite a co-owner. And obviously, when that person comes in there, you need to establish what the value of your organization or asset is. And the class today helped to illustrate what that could be and what are the pieces that you need in order to establish what that value could be. And there are a mix of the founder, the team, the technology, the traction, and many other pieces as well. So having a view of what that is something that's going to greatly help you to almost make it a nice rounded picture so that when you're having that conversation, you're less on the defensive and more on the offensive. And you can mitigate and preempt any questions that come up so that you're more in the driving seat, so to speak.
Good. And have you had any sort of partners that you have done equity deals with?
I've had a few partners in a few of my companies. Both of them have, we are no longer partners. The first one was basically
What was the deal structure?
The first one was a 50-50, 50-50 part. They were a co-founder. And then they basically decided that they didn't want to do it anymore. So they did their own thing. And then I managed the entire company with 100% equity. So that was pretty amicable. The second time, it was again a 50-50 partnership. It was working well for a while, but then there were differences in marketing and approach because I'm very experimentative. I like to try new things and they weren't. And then we just split up.
How you just split up? You're explaining it like it's so easy to do. If somebody owns 50% of my company, I don't think we could just split up.
Well, so essentially we had to kill the company.
Oh, okay.
The company got dissolved. So that was like a learning experience because the learning there was that whenever you have a partnership, make sure you have 51% equity because then you're controlling the fate of the company and sure you can say that we're partners. You call the shots and you have the executive decision on taking those decisions when there is some sort of a heated disagreement because someone needs to have that deciding vote. Otherwise, you'll just be at loggerheads and you won't be able to move forward. It'll be an impasse and that's never a good place to be.
Good. And you're right now on your own, you're 100% the owner?
Yes.
And if you were to do some sort of a deal structure, what it would be?
Right now, if I were to do a deal structure, the other, but certainly advisory board, that would definitely be one route for sure. I've been in the industry for a while, so I know many people. I have many friends that are advising me on an ongoing basis without any formal agreement. But if I were to do a formal agreement, I guess I could offer 0.25% equity, which is the standard rate for an advisory board. And as far as other roles, if I were to bring on a CMO or a CTO or a CSO or a CRO or any one of the C-suite, then the equity position obviously would be based on performance. So it would be similar to what we've just learned where there'll be a cliff, there'll be a vesting schedule and period where sure, maybe I'll give them 10%, 20%, 30% even, provided they hit certain milestones. And one of the other sides of it is that whatever business they bring in, they would then get a rev share in that, which would also further incentivize them to be more performance oriented. Because if they're not performing, sitting there occupying space, which obviously isn't good for them, or is it good for me? So we just need for them to perform.
Good. Before you ask me questions, I have the last one for you.
Please.
What's the cost of removing a Google review?
Sure, it's $2,000.
$2,000 for one single 1-star review?
Yeah.
Let them be.
The data tells us that one single bad review can cost your company $15,000 to $50,000 per lost customer per year. So what that means is that if you leave it unattended, it could kill you.
I have 1,000 5-star reviews next to that one, so it's I don't think in my scenario, but maybe if someone you just say, for me, sure, maybe somebody doesn't decide to come and eat and spend a $20 on a meal. So for me, it's absolutely not worth it. So I think you could kind of pricey for my industry, that would be very pricey. It's I don't know, if I'm a surgeon and I operate to clients and somebody leaves me a 1-star review, then I would definitely invest $2,000 to get it removed. I see how it can be done. A restaurant, yeah, that would be crazy for me. But anyway, go ahead with your questions.
You're obviously clearly the expert and domain authority with social media and content. You understand how platforms work, what content works, what content doesn't work. My question for you is, as far as given what I do, we've tried a couple of approaches, and I think it's similar to one of the earlier questions that was asked, which is one approach that we tried was using stories that are hot in the media whether it is Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, that trial, making content that relates to that. So obviously those keywords and hashtags relate to that, so that, gets served up more because it's current and relevant. But constantly chasing the headlines seems to be a little bit tiring.
Of course.
The answer that I'm seeking is there another way of doing it where almost creating our own narrative, and what could that be? Or what are some tacks or approaches that you may advise?
You see what I just asked you? I wanted to know, and I'm sure thousands out there want to know. So why don't you create content around that? You just said how important and how much it could cost you one bad review.
Yeah.
Why don't you video about that? Say, and start immediately. One bad review can cost you up to $50,000 a year, and this is why. And then you break it down and says, we can do that for you for only $2,000. I can explain it.
Right.
It could be one video, but you can then play around it and create it in the different scenarios. Also, like how you introduce yourself. That could be another video. I don't think you have to be chasing hit stories at the moment, but like you can be featuring towards any businesses out there with your personality, with your fun looks, with your purple blazer, how you present yourself. You're very personable, very likable, very funny. You have what it takes to capture attention. So I would not be chasing the story. I would make you are the story. Just create things around that. I don't know what you're doing right now, but again, you see what I was curious about. I'm sure general public is curious about all of those things too. And then it's not, you don't just do remove reviews, you do so much more.
Right.
Every single thing that you do, you can provide videos of why is that so beneficial. Why, like, I've been in Forbes organically. I did not pay a single dollar to be in Forbes, and you can find me if you Google me in Forbes. You can find me. If I was not lucky enough to have that happen to me, I know how much of a value it is. And I know so many others found me because of that and reach out for even more media coverage and everything. So like you can create story around that and tell people how valuable it is for them. And it is pricey, but it brings so much. I would focus on creating those stories. Just more of you. You're fun.
Okay, awesome. I have another question. Someone told me that I should be doing lives. Two-part question with lives are, should they be every single day? Should they be at 7 p.m.? What are some, should it be 1 hour? Should it be 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30? What are some best practices?
Already, the Instagram particularly wants you to use every feature on their platform. They want you to use the stories, they want you to use reels, they want you to use static posts, to use the pictures, and to use lives. Okay. I go live only once a month just because to do a feature, and honestly not just because even I wanted to do it. What I would recommend with lives is to have a scheduled time and just to not go live randomly and out of nowhere, like I turn on my phone now and go live, but announce it almost like it's a show. So say, hey, put out. You can even create a video of the announcement of the live, because flyers don't do good anymore. So you can create a flyer, but you can create a video saying Thursday 12 p.m. Central Time, I will be going live and I will be talking about this. Because you want to know what type of the conversation is, so for me to know if I want to tune then in it. And then your people will find you, and people who are interested in that will go. So yes, absolutely do the lives, but schedule them, let people know so that they can tune in. So it's hard to get people live, people are busy and stuff, but if you plan ahead of time, if you tell them what it's about and what interesting they're gonna get, then I think
Could I have you on my live whenever I do it in the future?
Anytime.